Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Nick from Forex for Noobs with the daily analysis. Today is Wednesday, the 28th of October 2020, and the time is 10 a.m. here in the UK. You're looking at a EURCAD daily chart. Now, a few things to just mention before we get started. We have the US election in under 1 week. Things this week are probably gonna get crazier and crazier and crazier. So, in my opinion, you should really start to scale down your trading, right? I forgot to put the chat up on the screen. I'm gonna put that up right now. Why is no one saying anything? Yesterday, there was like 20 messages in the chat. Today, but anyway, oh, Martin's here. Hello, Martin. Hey, Agorio, Sue, Sydney, Dennis. Hello, everyone. I don't know how to say your name, Jerton. Jerton? That sounds kind of French. Jerton. I'll go with that. What do you mean 1 hour off? Are you a 1 hour off or we were 1 hour off? Anyway, let's not get distracted by that. Just hello, everyone. There's a lot of hellos to say, so I'll just say hello, everyone. Right, so yeah, a few things to talk about. I'm going to start winding down my trading already. I'm probably not going to take any trades for the rest of this week. I'm still going to do analysis and share potential upcoming trades because I know a lot of you just do not care. You do not care about the US election affecting the markets. You do not care. You just want to take trades. Some of you are trading demo, so you're more willing just for the experience sake to just keep trading. So I'll still share potential setups, but I just got stopped out this morning on one of my trades. Not a problem. I'll talk about that in a sec. And that's me for this week, guys. That's just me done for this week. Not because of the loss. I don't care about the loss. That's nothing. Just because as we get closer and closer to this election, things are gonna potentially get crazier and crazier. Every election in the US, this is the approach I take. As we get close, I stop trading. This one especially because of the craziness of it. So the election is, I believe, Tuesday next week. Yeah, Tuesday next week. Now, someone asked, am I not going to trade next week? Let's just see how it goes next week. Generally speaking, once it's been decided, things just kind of like go back to normal. So maybe Wednesday next week, Wednesday evening next week, I'll get back into it. But this election is a bit different. This election, things could get a bit crazier. So, yeah. Let's just see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. I'll keep you guys updated though. We're going to do analysis next week, so I'll keep you guys updated. Right, so let's actually take a look at the setups. All right, so some open setups. Just to be clear, I am no longer in EURCAD. I'm no longer in AUD USD. I'm not in EURCAD. And AUDJPY we'll talk about in a minute. So EURCAD, if you're still in this one, I talked about it yesterday that you should look at closing. I hope that some of you were able to get out at some point yesterday, because I think it was down here yesterday when I talked about closing. Then it had a nice little pull up to here. I really hope some of you were able to get out around here when it pulled back up. But yeah, it just doesn't really make sense to hold on to this one anymore, simply because it is in this kind of choke point right now where it's just stalling out here. It's been open for a while, and with the US election coming up, it just doesn't really make sense to continue holding it. So I hope some of you were able to get out with a nice little bit of profit. If you got out at the top of that pullback yesterday, kind of after I said you should consider exiting, you would have got out with like a 1.36. It's not great, but it's not horrible either. It's, you know, what can be expected at times like this. So EURCAD, I really hope you guys closed out. If not, you might want to close out now with significantly less profit, which would be unfortunate. Maybe wait for a bit of a pull up to today's high or something. If you really want to. But yeah, my advice, as of yesterday, honestly, my advice was to close out on Friday last week, which would have been ideal, or even on Thursday last week, which would have been here. But I still, if you're still in, I still advise to close out. That would be my advice. AUDUSD, now my advice again was to close out Friday last week, which I did. I closed out Friday last week. I didn't make as much as I wanted to on this trade, but I got pretty much as I could get out of it. For those of you who are still in, yeah, at this point you may as well. Yeah, at this point you're probably gonna get stopped out at break even if you hold on to it. I imagine most of you have a break even stop at this point. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because I would not have left it open this long. I didn't leave it open this long. So it's always hard to say what I would do if I had left it open this long, right? Because I wouldn't have done that, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, I probably would have closed out sometime this morning when it started dropping down. When it equaled that high and just came shooting down, probably would have just closed out. I don't want to be in trades right now because of the election getting closer and closer. So yeah. Right, now on to AUDJPY. This is my first loss I have taken in weeks. I've had such a good streak. This is the first loss that I've taken in weeks. And to be honest, it just had to happen, didn't it? It had to happen. Just to keep me grounded. To remind me that I am a mere mortal and not the ultimate trading machine. It had to happen. I had to take a loss. And I really don't care. I've seen a lot of you just focused a lot on this trade, why it's not working out, whatever. Look, you're going to take losses in trading, guys. It's just normal. You just have to accept it. Every trader takes losses. Sometimes you're going to take 4, 5, 6, 7 losses in a row. Coming off a pretty good winning streak, taking a loss is just normal. Some point that streak is going to break. So yeah. That whole mortal thing was a joke, by the way. I don't think I'm the ultimate trading machine. Just for people who are taking me seriously there. This trade just kind of didn't work out. I don't really care. It hit my stop loss. First loss in a little while. Nothing else to say about it, guys. It was just a losing trade. So honestly, I'm just going to remove these ones from the list as open trades because I really don't see why anyone would. Well, obviously AUDJPY, I don't see why anyone would still be in this one because it's going down. But the other two really should have been closed out. This one yesterday, this one this morning. But they should have actually been closed out last Friday when I said they should have been, in my humble opinion, which is not sounding that humble right now, but hey. Right, so potential setups that we looked at yesterday. We were looking at EURAUD. I was really hoping for it to hit resistance yesterday. That way it would pull back and there could be a range on small time frames, like the 8 hour. But it didn't quite happen. So yeah, there's not really much happening with this one anymore. it looked like a good range was forming, but the range doesn't look good anymore. So I'm just going to take this off the list. GBP, JPY, we're looking for it to stall out at the bottom of the range, but it didn't stall out. It just came crashing down through. So again, this one did not trigger. There was no setup here, and it's no longer a valid setup on the lower time frames, which we were looking at. But we'll come back to it for the daily chart. Maybe we'll see something there. And USDCAD, again, we were just looking for the range to form, but the range never formed. So these were just potential ranges we were looking at. That's all they were. And none of them triggered, none of them turned into ranges. So yeah. Right, USDCHF, I know we talked about this one yesterday as a potential long you could enter. Now, I didn't enter this one because the risk to reward ratio just wasn't really good enough for me. Did anyone get in here on USDCHF? If you got in, you're doing quite well. You're doing better than I did with AUDCAD, obviously. All right, Martin, you're in a USDCHF. Lars, you're in. All right, so a few of you are in. I guess if 2 people are saying they're in, there's probably more people in. Therefore, it is enough to mark it as a potential, as an open setup, rather. All right, so nice. Right. That makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so this one I talked about last week, and I also talked about in yesterday's analysis as a potential trade. I know some of you got in last week at the lower point. Did anyone get in yesterday around the 0.9095 though? Or is it mostly people who just got in last week? Or sorry, not last week, on Monday at the lower point down here, roughly. Well, look, ultimately it doesn't matter. It is an open trade that some of you guys have gotten in. I didn't get in this one. If you're in it, I mean, you may as well leave it open. It's going well. Just leave it open for now. But guys, really keep in mind that as we get closer to the election, things are going to get crazier. So just be really, really careful. AUDCAD, this is another potential I shared yesterday. This one still is a potential setup. It's just that that indecision candle that formed this morning is so big that it's really going to make the risk to reward ratio, it's still okay at 1.9, but it's going to be a lot harder for us to hit our target on this one. Honestly, if today's candle closes as it is, there's potential to enter short tomorrow, but I'm just gonna give this disclaimer for every trade I talk about. I won't enter tomorrow because I don't want to trade this close to the election. If you want to, you could potentially enter this one tomorrow as a short from here if it closes like it looks like now. If this candle gets a bit wider, then it'll probably not be that good. There's always the opportunity to enter on a retrace. So you wait for price, imagining it closes exactly like it looks like right now. You wait for price to break this level and then pull back up a little bit, and then you enter on a bit of a pullback to get a better entry, essentially. So once it breaks the low of this candle, if this candle closes as it is right now, so once it breaks the 93.73, you set your entry at, I don't know, just a rough example here, 93.85. You wait for that pullback and you get in at 93.85. That way you have a much better risk to reward ratio. You could do that if you really want to enter this. So there is still potential to enter here. Euro AUD, this has just gotten too crazy. This candle got a bit too crazy this morning, so there's no potential setup there anymore. Things are going to get crazier and crazier this week in terms of No, I shouldn't say that. I should say things are going to get less and less reliable this week. So this is not just me being ultra cautious about the US election. Every US election, trading gets weirder and weirder because you have to think about, the closer you get to the election, it gets weirder because you have to think about what's going on here. It's not just people like me who are being cautious. It's also the banks, the hedge funds, and stuff like that. They're also being cautious. Therefore, it is affecting the markets. And it's also the currency exchange places. A lot less currency exchange transactions are going to happen at a time like this because, let's say there's a company that wants to exchange 10 billion USD for CAD, just as an example. They're not speculatively trading the Forex market. They're just exchanging currency one for the other because, they do transactions like this all the time. They might hold off till after the election because they suspect that it's going to do something after the election and they want to get a better rate on their currency exchange. All those kinds of things on the lead up to an election, they start happening and they start impacting the market. So it's not just me being cautious. The whole market is going to shift and start slowing down due to this election, especially next week. And we're also going to start seeing crazy swings because what people don't understand about Forex is just because there's less people trading, it doesn't mean that the market is less susceptible to swings. There's proof of that if you look at USDJPY right here. No, sorry, that's the wrong example, my bad. And was it? Right here. 3rd of January 2019, no one was trading at this time. Banks, bank traders, hedge funds, managed funds, they're not trading at this time. Yet we got this insane spike. But we got this spike because there was no one trading. So, how do I explain this in a concise and simple way? As a zero-sum market, where there always has to be another side to the order, when the sell order started flying in, the bots that were trading at the time were the bots that the hedge funds, managed funds, banks have. They started throwing sell orders into the market, but because there weren't many opposing buy orders, the buy orders were spaced further and further apart. All the sell orders flying in had to were taking out lower and lower. I don't know. It's really hard to explain this in a concise manner in an analysis session. Let's just summarize this by saying that the market, it's not only me being cautious, the market is just going to get crazy. It's a lot more susceptible to wild swings. So, yeah, be careful. So, like all over the place with this analysis, guys. But yeah, back to AUDCAD. There is potential to enter this one if you really think that it's time to trade this. Why didn't I enter AUDCAD? There's a few reasons. Number one, I just tend not to enter trades in the evening my time. So this one pretty much triggered, and it was around 9:30 if I remember correctly. It wasn't. Yeah, so it started going down around 9:30. This one triggered around 9:30 my time. I tend not to keep trades. I tend not to enter trades in the evening. I tend to just wait until morning, which is why, a lot of the times in this analysis, I'll say, hey guys, I missed the trade, because I just don't tend to enter trades in the evening my time. Part of it was also the US election. I'm just very apprehensive about entering any trades right now. So yeah, those are the two reasons. I waited until morning, and in this case, it was a good thing. But I've already seen talk on the forum from people saying entering trades during the Asian session is not a good idea. Which I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying that some people have already asked me if they should change their strategy, or not their strategy so much as their approach where they do not open trades at this time of day. At not this time, the time of day that this triggered, which was towards the end of the New York session, the start of the Asian session, or the time between the end of New York and the start of the Asian session. And I'm just concerned with that kind of attitude where people take one loss and then they change their approach or their rules in reaction to one loss. This is the easiest way to paint yourself into a corner of nonsensical, random rules. When you change things based on one loss, or even two losses, or even three losses, when you just all of a sudden start making random changes to your strategy, you're just going to have a random set of rules that really make no sense. If trading at the end of the New York session / the start of the Asian session produces bad results over 30 trades, 40 trades, then it makes sense to change the rules of your strategy. If it's just one or two trades, then it doesn't make sense to change. I tend not to enter trades at that time, not really as a rule. It's not like I always do it. I just don't really enter trades in the evening because by that point, it's evening for me. I'm not really looking at the charts that much. I'm not really bothered with it. And I just prefer to enter trades in the, after the open of London session or just before, because things tend to be a little bit clearer then. So we're already 20 minutes into this analysis and I've barely done any analysis. I'm really sorry, guys. I know a lot of you just want to listen to this analysis for a quick and concise analysis of what's going on. I've rambled on a lot today. I've talked about a lot of different things. Let's get into the actual analysis. Yeah, Colin, like I just said I'm going to talk analysis, but I just want to make another point real quick. If you look at your last 50 trades and you notice that a lot of the trades you've taken at that time, that 2 hour kind of gap between the close of New York and the open of the Asian session, a lot of them are failures, then maybe you want to change your strategy. But people don't ever focus on the winning trades. All right, they always focus on the ones that sting, the ones that hurt the most, the losing trades. If you look back on your stats, you may notice that a lot of the trades you took at this time, at the Asian session open, or that gap in between that I was just talking about, they end up being winners because you get like these big moves that just carry through. But you don't remember those ones because they don't hurt. They're just like good. And humans are a lot better at remembering the painful moments, probably because it's a good thing. I mean, better to remember that when you eat that mushroom, you throw up for 2 weeks than to remember the mushrooms that, filled your stomach and made you less hungry, or, made you go on a magical trip. Just as an example, humans focus on the bad stuff because it's probably beneficial to us. People focus on the bad trades, right? Don't change your strategy just because of this one trade. Look back on your results, see trades I took at this time, statistically, are they profitable or not profitable? And if you've got like a good sample size of 30 trades to go with, then you'll have your answer as to what you should do. And how do you do this? You keep a detailed trading journal, which I know a lot of traders don't do, no matter how much I tell them to do it. No matter how much I tell them, they don't keep a detailed trading journal. If you don't keep a detailed trading journal with the times you've entered your trades, you're making a huge mistake. Keep a detailed journal. That way you can look back and you can make actual decisions based on your actual statistics and not just spur of the moment. I'm going to change this about my strategy and then I'm going to end up with this Frankenstein strategy with ridiculous rules that is just going to completely mess up my trading. Anyway, let's get to the analysis, guys. This has been a day of crazy sidetracks. So, Euro New Zealand, I honestly do not remember what oh yeah, yesterday we were looking if price stalled here, but it didn't stall, so that one's off the list too. Righto. Right, so CADJPY is hitting a pretty strong support area right now. You could look for price to stall out on this support for a potential long, perhaps on the 12-hour. If you wait for the 12-hour, you might get a trade early tomorrow on this for a potential long. But we need price to stall out here, and it's not showing signs of stalling right now. So just be patient with that one. It could give you a trade. I don't know about Euro AUD. I mean, it is stalling out here, but the risk to reward ratio is really not that good. Nah, I wouldn't do anything with that. Yeah, EURJPY. Look, EURJPY could still turn into a potential setup. Let's mark it as a potential, because it could still turn into a potential setup. You just imagine what this could look like at the end of today if it pulls back up right now. It would potentially look something like this. Right? If it pulls back up, it would look like a nice little indecision candle. Then we could take a trade from, you know, entry here, stop loss here, target somewhere up there. That could be a nice trade. And when I say we, I don't actually mean me. I just mean, you know. Oh, wow. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm sorry. But it's not a big deal. It's still valid on the 12-hour. I'm happy to take 12-hour trades, but yeah, Dennis, thank you for pointing that out. That was silly. I didn't switch back. But yeah, this could form on the 12-hour, and it could give a nice trade on the 12-hour. So there is still potential here. Keep an eye on that. I'm going to look at these again with the daily. I can't believe I made that mistake. GP New Zealand stalling out pretty well, but this one's, I talked about this yesterday, it's just way too messy to the left. I really don't like that as a trade. USDJPY is kind of interesting because right now it's looking like it's going to make some very, very significant lows. I'm going to keep a close eye on this. Now, I would be tempted to trade this as a breakout. Now, I know there's no real proper breakout video yet on the course, but there will be soon. It's I've been reshooting course videos the last few days for an entire revamp of the course, a complete revamp. Because, you know, as we're getting closer and closer to December, I'm gonna have more time to do stuff like that. I'll be adding a video on breakouts. I would be tempted to trade this as a breakout if it wasn't the US election, but I'm not going to do that. But if anyone's interested in taking a breakout here, I will post to the forum how I would go about that if I was actually trading. And that's it, guys. That is it for the analysis. There's not a whole lot happening. A lot of the potentials we were looking at yesterday have not turned into actual setups. AUDCAD, there's still potential to enter this depending on how it closes today. You could get in short something like this. CADJPY, just looking for price to stall out on top of support. EURJPY, similar scenario, looking for price to stall out on top of support. You could enter either of these on the 12-hour because it's much more likely to form on the 12. And USDJPY, just want to see this break this low here because it could rush down after that. This is UKX is also the UK 100, right? I hate how like all the different brokers have different ticker symbols. I don't really trade this stuff much, so it's hard for me to remember, but I think it's UKX, right? Because when you do UK 100, I'm going to assume it's UKX until you tell me otherwise. Hold on. Yeah, there's not many thoughts on it. It's just trending down, isn't it? Or starting to trend down. Last 3 months has been a pretty obvious downward slope. This one is at 5654, so it's a little bit different. Wait, sorry. I think I read that wrong. I think I read 5-4 or something from you. No, so it is the correct one. It is UKX. That's what you're looking at. Cool. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't really have much thoughts on this. I don't see any support area here. The closest support I see that has any sort of significance would be there. I guess maybe here it was no, that was a while ago. No, I would say support is more like here. So it's not at support. It's obviously trending down. I just don't see any good opportunity for an entry here based on price action. If you're in already as a short, then awesome, hold on to it. But entering on this, I just don't really see. So guys, let's do a quick summary. I think I already kind of done a summary, but I forgot to put up the summary screen. So here is the summary screen. Now let's switch back and do a summary. USDCHF, if you're in this one, just hold on to it. It looks good. AUDCAD, potential short here, which would probably trigger tomorrow after this daily candle closes. Honestly, you could also enter this on the 12-hour if you really want to enter it today on a break of that same low. But it would be a good idea to wait for a pullback so you get a better entry there. CADJPY, 12-hour or daily, look for price to stall on this support. Very similar to EURJPY, just looking for price to stall on this support. And USDJPY, there's potential for a short breakout, kind of on a break of this support area. But I can discuss that on the forum if people really want me to. But as I've said a million times today, I'm not going to take any of these trades. Too apprehensive about the election. So, are there any questions, guys? All right, yeah, it looks like there's no questions, so I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you very much for attending, guys. I will do analysis tomorrow, just because I know you guys might want it, and I know that you guys might just trade through the US election anyway. So I will do analysis tomorrow. I'll see you guys for tomorrow's analysis, which is going to be at 10 a.m. And I will do analysis next week, which it's going to be a bit crazy, but hey, I'll do analysis next week. So thank you guys very much for attending, and I'll see you later.